What's up, everyone? Thanks for joining me on D's Analysis. Today we're going to be looking at Bitcoin. Right here we have global liquidity as the yellow line here. And like I spoke about it previously, usually Bitcoin follows global liquidity, and global liquidity has been rallying up since the week of December 30th. So we haven't seen that move yet in Bitcoin. So we are anticipating that move to come relatively soon. Maybe we rally off of the CPI data tomorrow, or maybe it takes even longer. We'll find out with time, of course. And you can see here when we measure, this was the start of the run-up on the liquidity, and the run-up didn't start for 11 weeks or 77 days. That's one case here. Here it kind of went at the same time, somewhat. Here it happened again, where global liquidity started running up. Bitcoin was still going down and sideways, and then about 90 days later, Bitcoin started going up as well. And it also happens in the other way as well. And sometimes they take turns. Sometimes Bitcoin will be leading, but most of the time global liquidity would be the one that is the leader. Global liquidity is just an indicator to help guide us in the right direction and try and compile as much information as possible together to see what we can get. We're going to take a look here at the dollar and see how that correlation works out. So I told you guys in the last Bitcoin video that anytime the dollar drops 2.5% or more, 100% of the time Bitcoin goes up. So whether that happens in a week, month, 2 months, 100% of the time, previously it has happened where Bitcoin ends up going up. So we'll see how it plays out, but they do have an inverse correlation. Dollar drops, Bitcoin should rally. Now it doesn't always play out the exact same way, but it does play out sometimes where you see Bitcoin going down, the dollar rallying up. We would like to see the dollar underneath $100. You want it to be underneath $100 for a good reason and not because we're having a recession or some kind of inflation concerns. But as you can see, multiple scenarios where they play as inverse. Sometimes they play out together, but most of the times they're inversely correlated. I also do have a chart that I found pretty interesting. Get ready for a bright screen. So this is a standard deviation of the dollar's percentage change in a 1 week period. So anytime the standard deviation goes underneath -4, you get this line that triggers. And what's perfect about this is every time this line has triggered, you can see that was the bottom before a run up. A line here, bottom before the run up, bottom before the run up. We have a line right here. So is this the local bottom for now before the run up? We'll find out. Now it doesn't mean that we bottom today or next week, but you can see this is a very large scale. So this could be a 2-month period or something like that, or 4 weeks, 3 weeks, who knows? But you get the idea. It's just a guideline to let you know. Every time we've gone under -4, and we just did that this past week, which also lines up with the idea of any time the dollar goes -2.5% or more, 100% of the time Bitcoin goes up. So those two kind of line up together, which makes the argument a little bit stronger, but nothing's guaranteed, of course. So don't make any trading decisions based off of this, but it's just something to take into consideration. And we're going to take a look at gold as well, because gold and Bitcoin are similarly tied together, and sometimes gold leads Bitcoin. So gold's been rallying since the week of December 23rd, and we've been going sideways and down on Bitcoin. About 77 days where it lines up if we were to start running right now. Let's see if we can find some other examples where it's led. Here, right here, it's only 2 week difference, 3 week difference. Here was about 77 days before we started moving up here. As you can see, started going up after that. Bitcoin actually led, and let's see if there's some kind of correlation between that. It's a little bit more, it's like 100 days or so, but you can see that it does happen quite often. So let's see if this was the bottom and we start rallying within the next 2-3 weeks. Let's see. Trying to use every tool that we can to get an idea of what could possibly happen. So we're going to look at some price action. We had these levels drawn out, got a retest of the level, which kind of I saw happening. I thought we get that retest and push down. Maybe this was the bottom, maybe it wasn't. We'll find out. This close right here on this green candle is a good sign. So it shows that, we're fighting back to try and hold this level, because this is definitely a nice little level that we want to hold on the daily. So if we can hold this and maybe this next one closes, we get a retest, and now we can try and break this trend line that we've been holding since January 20th, since the inauguration. So let's see. But I definitely want to see price get above here, and maybe we chop before we break out, or maybe we just run straight through it, because Bitcoin gets going very quickly. You'll go to sleep, it's 82,000, you wake up, it's at 92,000. It's crazy. Not saying that this is going to happen. On the Bollinger Bands, on the daily, we bounced right off that green level, so we're headed towards the blue. On the weekly, we bounced off the green, looking good. Hopefully we can continue pushing to the blue. On the SMA, we're on the weekly, we held the 50, which is a very strong level. Definitely don't want to see any closes below the 50 week. We closed below the 20, and we're super far from the 200, so we don't have to worry about that. If we see the 200, then yeah, you should. That's when you actually want to run. Actually, I lied. You probably actually want to be scooping up as much as you can. But that's when I would be concerned and saying this bull cycle is for sure over. On the daily, we are underneath all three, which is not a good sign. Definitely don't want to see that. We want to break back above this 200 day, which would also line up with this horizontal level of support. And we're going to take a look at a couple of Fibonacci retracements. If we were to take a fib from here to here, from the bottom to the top, we have our golden zone right here, the 0.5 to the 0.618. That would be a perfect bounce off of the level. If we were to draw that out here, that would have played out perfectly. If that's our golden zone and we get a bounce, that makes sense. Now on a smaller time frame, we could also pull a fib in the opposite direction, which I could see happening as well. So if we have a fib like that, and this is towards the downside, so we pulled it from here to here, and we have our golden zone right here. What if this move up is just pushing towards this golden zone to then bounce off of and continue down? So this is a golden zone right here. So we have this move breaking down. What if we get that bounce and continue lower? And that would play off of this golden zone, pushing price in a bearish direction. We're also going to look at fibs on another level where we took it from the bottom to the top here in the 2021 cycle. This was still in the same year. So the first move was able to call the top of the second move. But this move, pulling the fib, you were able to identify this move and this move. So if we were to do it here, if we were to do it from the same cycle, it would look like something like this. If we were to do it from the same cycle, from bottom to top, we're looking at that 1618. We pushed up exactly to that and this first move here. So what if we were to take it a little bit further to this one and say, okay, we haven't topped yet. Where do we see price going for the rest of this cycle? And maybe it's up here at the 160 to 170 range. This is just hypothetically speaking, speculation, not guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed. It's just something to think about, something to look at. But that's what I'm seeing right now. We do need to break this downtrend, push up, and we need to get back within this trend line here. That's what we need to see. That would be the best case scenario. So if we can get back above this trend line, that would put us in a great position to continue moving up higher and continue this cycle. That's all I have for you guys today. I'll see you in the next one.